and I'm the head of business development at LYST. If you guys aren't familiar with our site, please check it out. But basically our mission in life is to make shopping easier, so we do that by bringing together millions of products from thousands of designers and hundreds of retailers and letting you now create one shopping bag where you can buy it all from. So really helping you discover, more of the fashion you love. And I guess I wanted to start by finding out a little bit more of who's in the room. So how many of you currently work in fashion? Okay. And how many of you work in e-commerce? Okay. And how many of you are not involved and just here because you're interested in fashion, all that kind of stuff? Okay, cool. So, in terms of talking about how to build your brand online, how to make it stand out in terms of online shopping, there's a lot you can cover. And I think what I want to just focus on today is some of the macro trends in the industry, because fashion and shopping online is being changed so much right now. It's following a very similar arc to what you've seen happen in content. And so I think that anyone looking to create a brand online and really make it stand out has to be aware of the trends and like what's coming next, essentially. So, I guess if you look at what's happened with content, it started off where every publication had an online presence, which was great. Technology then came in and made it easier than ever for anyone to create their own publishing site. As a result, you have a lot of proliferation, saturation, and RSS feeders or aggregators came in to kind of help consumers bring that all together, which is good, except, you then have still a wealth of information just in one place, and you needed to kind of help filter that around personalization. And that's where you see sites like Twitter come into play, where users can follow certain interest graphs and essentially create a hyper-personalized stream of information and content tailored to you. And in shopping, you're seeing a lot of the same thing, right? So you started with brick and mortar, every brick and mortar having an online presence, then low barrier to entry from anyone wanting to create their own .com. So again, huge proliferation. You saw aggregators come into play to kind of bring it all together and all that inventory in one place. And then now you're seeing sites like LYST, personalize that to you so you can create essentially your own store and get, a hyper-personalized shopping feed. So if you look at the big trend there, it's moving to these net native models. Like, you're no longer thinking of moving what's offline online, and what's happening now are models that are being created that can't exist in the offline world. So like Farfetch, Etsy, LYST, things like that can't exist in the real world. And people are starting to think how consumers think online and how they shop online. And so some of the big trends there in terms of capitalizing this are mobile. So we all use our phones all the time. It's, for our site, gone from 8% to 35% of our traffic in a 12-month period, not dissimilar to, I think, what most people are seeing in e-commerce. So it's more of a consumer behavior and a trend you're seeing. What people are doing really poorly is converting. So sales aren't happening on mobile so much. So I think that's one of the big trends that anyone looking to enter, e-commerce, online shopping, and really build a standout brand has to think about how consumers are buying on mobile, and are they optimizing for it? Is their purchase funnel efficient? Since we launched our transactional model, our marketplace model a few months ago, where you can create one shopping bag, we've seen sales through that model. 25% of them are happening from mobile now, which is a really high conversion rate. Usually it's like 0.4%. So that's the first thing I would suggest for anyone who's really thinking about creating an online shop. Start thinking about how consumers are going to be purchasing. The next, content is getting distributed around the web, so is commerce. People are buying in a number of different places. They're discovering in a number of different places, social sites, blogs, whatever. This idea of native commerce, so being able to purchase within that situation without leaving it. So whether it's Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, blogs, never leaving, bouncing off to another site, is kind of what's being worked on now. It's happening in the next 6 to 12 months. So companies really looking to, again, create a standout brand, are thinking about how they're going to integrate with those technologies. Are you looking at, building a technology, a site that is capable of integration? Those are easier decisions to make when you're starting off than later on. Retroactively fitting them is a little bit difficult. So APIs, things like that. And I guess the third thing that I'd suggest you look at when you're thinking of how to stand out online, is thinking about things as just really commerce. It's not siloed, it's not segmented, it's not kind of F-commerce, M-commerce, e-commerce anymore. People are not thinking that way. You might walk into a store, look at a product, look it up on your phone, see it's cheaper somewhere else, buy it. You might get an email that, later in the day, when you're on your mobile, you decide to purchase from it, whatever it might be. People are shopping on multi-channels and cross-platforms. And again, when you're building a site and when you're thinking about things, you need to be thinking about how you can, touch consumers in each of those areas, bridge online, offline, and really be set and poised for integration, if that makes sense. iOS 7 is coming out soon, or has come out, sorry, and some of the geofencing and ability it has to help users shop in store based on what's happening on their phone and indications they've given on their phone is really exciting. So I think you're going to see a lot of change happening there too. So to sum it up in 3 points, if you're really looking to kind of build your brand online, for e-commerce, I would say that the first thing is to adopt early. You've got more to gain than lose. Be agile. You've got analytics and data. That's all your friends. It's all available. You can test more and react quickly. And then the last thing is, you're not an island. So think about, don't build in a silo. Don't be a silo. Think about all the integrations that you can kind of take advantage of to be where the consumer is. So, yeah. Any questions? Yes.
So you started this thing, the list, which is great and it's really exciting. And I'm a designer. So what are the best ways to contact such a site as yours or another site?
Me. We can do this now.
But it is a challenge because I'm sort of used to the old-fashioned way of contacting a store buyer, calling the store, giving the buyer their email. But with all these different online sources that people can buy from, it creates a new challenge for me to figure out now who do I contact to get on board.
It's a new opportunity. It puts you more in control, right? Yeah. So you're going to be more in control of your distribution channels. You're not relying on other people so much anymore, and that's a great thing. The first step would be obviously just to reach out and find out what you need. So again, I don't know if your e-commerce site is built on, what kind of platform it's built on. I can recommend platforms. Things that you need to integrate are pretty basic and cost effective, but making those decisions really early on in the process is important. Simple things like getting your feed set up, et cetera, and being, again, poised to integrate. Once you have that ready, it's fairly easy to reach out and be strategic in terms of how you want to and where you want to reach out to. Yeah, no worries. Anything else? Yeah.
It was a little loud, so I didn't really catch your advice on how to make your brand stand out online, since there's so many other people who are marketing their brand online.
Yeah, so do you have a brand online? Or yeah, okay, so the whole 10 minutes. No, I'm just kidding. So, the main things is that, where e-commerce is right now, it's changing so much. As Jeff Bezos from Amazon said, it's still day one of e-commerce. If you look at what you're going to be doing now, quick fixes and tactical things. Okay. If I talk louder, does that help? Okay. So, I was just saying that it's still really early days for e-commerce. And Jeff Bezos, the CEO of Amazon, said it's still day one, and that's kind of his famous quote, and it really is. He keeps changing year after year the time of the day it is. It might be 11 a.m. of day one. But really, the most important things you can do is if you're starting an e-commerce site, whether it's your own brand, you're a designer or retailer, you've really got to be poised to the whole way the industry is shifting, right? Which is mobile-based, being able to integrate with other sites, being able to provide native commerce and third-party sites, whether that's social networks or content sites, things like that. There's obviously base things that you want to do in terms of, working on your tone and your voice and making sure that your brand is built, one of the biggest things there goes around to perceived value. So are what you promising the customer and what you're delivering close enough that it is aspirational and it's delivering on that? If there's too much of a delta between what you're promising and what you're delivering, people are going to get disappointed and they're not going to come back. Perceived value is something Nasty Gal does really, really well. They nailed that. Aside from those kinds of more tactical things, and I'm happy to chat after or whatever about kind of those things that you can be doing in terms of imagery, photography, tone and voice, content, all that kind of stuff. It's really important to see that just because you build an e-commerce site, it's like building a store in the desert, in the middle of, who knows where. You have to budget in costs. Like Google's your landlord online. So, you might not be technically paying rent, but you are. You have to be discovered, and that's through basic things like SEO, SEM, how much are you paying in that versus integrating with other sites, affiliate type sites, marketplaces, etc. And so when you look to start that off, that process, you need to be aware of what this changing landscape's going to kind of look like, and therefore what can you, when you're in the process of initially building it, make sure that you have in your toolkit and your arsenal and make it easy to integrate, because trying to do that later on and retroactively fit it is going to be more costly. So, anything else? Yes, James.
Are y'all looking to
No, I think that, if I look into the future in my crystal ball, what I think could be really exciting would be a world where, you've added an item to your list and you're walking down the street and you just get a notification that that's available in Intermix right there in your size. So you can go check it out. In terms of, us taking credit for it, no, I think if it's benefiting the consumer, that's our end goal. Are we helping you shop? Are we helping you discover more fashion you love? That's important to us. So, yeah. Anything else? Okay, thank you.